for more on the auto show. Tuled joins us, the managing director of Sino Auto Insights. Good to see you. Thank you for joining us. Let me start with this chips thing that he was talking about earlier. We've been dealing with this now for over a year. It was awful to begin with. Cars couldn't make cars. And now I heard things got better, but then, of course, we've had this recent development with, again, more consternation with chips, and it's causing a lot of people to worry that we're going to be right back where we started.
So I think we're doing much better with the chip situation, but remember, when chip shortages last for a very long time, 3, 6, 7 months, it's actually a capacity issue. And there's been increased investment in Taiwan, in mainland China, for increasing capacity for fabrication of these chips. So I think over the next 18 to 20 months, we'll still have some challenges, but once the capacity comes online, that'll smooth out some of the demand issues or supply issues.
There is a huge list of new cars coming both at the end of 2022 and, of course, in 2023 and beyond, quite frankly. What cars should we be excited about in the next few months?
So I think at the Paris Auto Show, BYD stole the show. And even before that, NIO, Li Bin, the CEO and founder of NIO, he did a European tour and launched 4 vehicles into Germany. So I think those 2 companies, specifically for Europe, are going to be really aggressive with expansion. And currently in Europe, the European automakers, with the exception of Tesla taking a couple of the top spots, are dominating in EV sales. But I think over the next 24, 30 months, you're going to start seeing Chinese companies in the top 10, in the top 5. So I'd get prepared if I was a European legacy.
BYD has come up a number of times in these discussions about cars. They had a slow start, if you will, but they have generated, I think, some momentum in the past couple of quarters, and it seems like this is like their breakout year, if you will, that they're finally getting to scale. They're getting the factories up and running. It just seems to be their time. Why is that? What did they do differently?
So they originally were a battery manufacturer, and what's one of the most important and expensive parts in an electric vehicle? It's battery. And so BYD not only makes their own batteries, but they design and fabricate their own chips. And so 2 of the most important commodities in an electric vehicle, BYD has complete control over. So not only are they able to manage supply of their own chips and batteries, but they can manage the cost a lot better as well. And so I think the combination of having vertical integration from their supply chain and having a number of products and building a ton of momentum in the China market, and recently getting to 300,000 units of capacity per month. So they're able to ship. They've launched in over a dozen countries in the last 6 or 7 months. And so they have aggressive expansion plans, and I believe that they're going to do well in most of these markets.
Yeah. And of course, it's not just them. Volkswagen, Audi, some of the traditional car makers, they are all have a huge lineup of EVs also coming out as well. One of the questions, though, that we have been, I guess, asked or thinking about is, we're trying to bring down inflation in most parts of the world. The price of new cars and used cars still remain very, very high. And the excuse we often get is that the input prices or the parts of these cars are going up, so they have to raise the price of the cars. So to you, is this a trend we will continue to see, or will we see a stabilization or a drop in new car prices, or are we just being hopeful?
So there's a couple things going on. As EV adoption increases, so whenever EV adoption starts, the governments need to come in and subsidize and help with priming that pump, incentivizing customers buying those vehicles. But in China, there are enough products, there are enough brands where competition kind of takes over and keeps a cap on that pricing. And what's happening specifically in Europe is by 2035, the EU is targeting to eliminate the sale of petrol and diesel fueled vehicles. And so that is really pulling in the timeline for EV adoption. And what we're starting to see is as the Chinese companies fill in the blanks on some of those product segments or market segments where the lower price points, medium price points, we'll start to see more competition. And I think that'll cap some of the pricing issues. And in the short term, the EV companies and the legacies will have to eat some of that volatility in the battery pricing and the chip pricing and logistics costs for exporting, shipping those cars to Europe.